Alright, so today let's look at essay writing. So in our essay writing today, I just would like to take you through the secrets, the tips, the techniques, and the steps of having a good essay. But before we begin, it is important you understand what IELTS examiners want. In essay writing, IELTS examiners are looking out for how correct your spellings are. So you must have good spelling skills beforehand. Secondly, you must also have creative writing ability or skills beforehand. Thirdly, you must have good sentence structure ability beforehand. Because in essay writing, IELTS examiners don't expect you to start producing short sentences. You are expected to show off compound and complex sentences. Do you understand this? Also, in your essay writing, IELTS examiners want to see your lexical resources. What does that mean? Vocabularies. So they want to see the level or standard or quality of the vocabularies you're bringing in your essay writing. So what do they want? They want advanced vocabularies. But in as much as IELTS is expecting advanced vocabularies, they don't want you to bring in ambiguous words. That's words that have multiple meanings. Because when you use words that have multiple meanings, you may have the understanding of that word to suit what you have written. But the examiner may, on his or her own, understand the other meaning of that word. So when the examiner uses the other meaning of that word, whereas that's not the meaning you intended, you have missed. So please, these are major things you want to really understand before we get started with this. But also you need to understand that there is what we call task achievement. Task achievement has to do with your ability to completely respond to the question. So when a question asks you to say the reasons for this and the benefits, do not get so engrossed in writing the reasons and forgetting to write the benefits. So you must establish the two parts. If the question establishes or requests that you write maybe 4 or 5 points on a particular thing, don't miss to complete the 5 points. It is very important. So let's begin. Essay writing lasts for 40 minutes. Don't forget that. Essay writing lasts for 40 minutes. Now, within these 40 minutes, you are expected to write a minimum of 250 words. You must hit up to 250 words. That's the minimum. You can write way above 250, right? Yes. But do not write less than 250. You'll be losing mark. Also, it is important you understand that essay writing gives you 66.69% of the total mark you get from writing tests. From essay writing alone, you can scoop in as much as 66.69% out of the 100%. So this is your task 2. Your task 1 gives you barely 33.31%. This is for task 1 of your writing test. And this is for task 2 of your writing test.
Let me call this document. Or continue. Let them just move forward like this. This card is very, very important. They want to buy a house. So they want to inspect the place.
Okay, so don't dwell so much on task 1 on the day of your writing test, because this is the much you get. I always encourage test takers to focus a lot more on task 2 first. Treat your task 2 first. Once you're done, proofread it, be confident and comfortable with what you've written. Then you go to task 1. Right? Okay. Now, to help you have a nicely structured essay, I have this formula you should apply. If you can follow this formula, 250 words is just nothing when you follow this formula. It makes it very easy for you to hit 250 and above. So let us understand what this formula entails. The formula for writing an essay, according to what I have factored, what I have understudied and come to the realization, is that this formula has its basis on P1, P2, P3, and P4. This means your essay writing should have 4 paragraphs. Your essay writing should have 4 paragraphs. Please do not write more than 4 paragraphs. And of course, do not write less than 4 paragraphs. Now let's look at the components or constituents or compositions of each of the paragraphs of an essay write in IELTS. The first paragraph has a number of factors or constituents you should try as much as possible to bring in. The first thing that you would begin with when writing your paragraph 1 is what we call paraphrase. What does that paraphrase stand for? It simply represents the practice of a test taker copying the question that's on the question paper onto your answer sheet, but not word for word, not exactly the words written in the question. So you are to paraphrase that question using substitute words that still represent and mean the same thing as in the original question. So what substitute words are we talking about? Synonyms. So when you pick up your question paper and read the question once, you are expected to identify some of the key words in the question that you know they are synonyms. So you have to now use the synonyms of those keywords to replace those words. So when you are copying the question onto your answer sheet, you are now rephrasing it. That's what the paraphrase stands for. Do you understand? Yes. I will give you a very quick example to establish most of these things. So first thing is recopy and rephrase the question that's written on the question paper onto your answer sheet. So that is the beginning of your first paragraph. Is this taken? After paraphrasing the question, you need to go back to the question, the original question, not the paraphrased version. Go back to the original question and read the question like twice or thrice. This time around, you're reading for proper understanding. Remember, the first time you read the question was not for you to understand, but for you to look for the words you can paraphrase. So once you have attained a successful paraphrase of the question and you've transferred to your answer sheet, you need to go and read the question for proper understanding. So you now know what is expected of you to do. So at this point, you want to read and understand the question. Once that is achieved, once you have understood the question, this is what we call preamble. That's the next thing you want to do. What's preamble? It's more of giving a little synopsis or preview of the situation that the question is posing or dishing out. You want to give a little overview, a little preview, a little synopsis of the question. So you give a little talk about it, give a very short insight of that situation that the question has described or captured. Then once that is established, you now end it with comma and establish that, therefore, you talk about your thesis or background statement. Don't worry, I'll give you practical illustrations of all of these. So you give your background statement by establishing what it is you have decided to do or the path you have decided to take in the question, according to the points you feel you have. So after establishing your thesis or background statement, Do not end it with a full stop. End it with a semicolon. Aha. Right? You end it with a semicolon. And after the semicolon, you then bring in your stance. Your stance could be your opinion, it could be your view, it could be your suggestion, it could be merit or demerit, advantage or disadvantage. It all depends on what the question indicates or stipulates. Then after that, you go to your paragraph 2. Your paragraph 2 has 3 components: topic sentence, body paragraph, and an example. Now, your topic sentence comes from the points you must have drafted out on the question paper as rough work while planning your essay. Remember, the first one was to paraphrase the question. After paraphrasing, you went back, you transferred to your answer sheet, then went back to the question paper to read for proper understanding. Is that correct? So after you must have understood the question, you want to give a little overview or synopsis of the issue raised. After which, you now establish that in this essay, I'll be writing to agree, or I'll be writing to disagree, or I'll be writing to discuss both sides, or I'll be writing to express I'll be writing to partially, or absolutely, or completely, or totally agree, depending on the question, actually. Or I'll be writing to express why people do this and the benefit they stand to. So, but before you make that statement of indicating what you will be doing in your essay, it is highly important for you to go to your question paper. Below the question, you have blank space, and at the back of the page, you also have blank space. You need to plan your essay by drafting out the points you like to use. A lot of people do not do that because they feel they have just spotted or cited a question. I think this looks a little simple. Let me go for this. It looks a little simple and you want to go for it, but you've not planned your points. Because of exam condition, you will start the first point. But the second point will be difficult. It usually turns out to be a remix of the first point discussed because of exam condition. So to avoid remixing or repeating a particular point in a diverse way, to avoid that, you are strongly encouraged to plan your essay first. Draft out your points. So each point you draft out, you should attach an example to it. So that would help you to be confident about what you will be discussing in your essay. Now,
So this the first paragraph, is it that there is no going to be full stop?
the first paragraph has paraphrase first, right?
Yeah.
So you are copying the question. When you are copying the question in a paraphrased way, if the question has just one sentence, you write as one sentence and apply a full stop. If it has 2 sentences,